The Rolling Giant. The Rolling Giant appears in the analog horror universe The Oldest View by Kane Pixels. This enormous and bizarre entity has become one of the series' most haunting symbols. It resides within an underground shopping mall, once lively, now nothing more than a quiet ruin. The mall, inspired by the real Valley View Center in Dallas, was permanently shut down after a mysterious incident. Now in the dark depths of what used to be a bustling commercial space, the Rolling Giant silently moves through the halls, relentlessly searching for anyone who dares to trespass. At first glance, it resembles a massive human-shaped statue, bearing a classical design said to be inspired by a French botanist. But unlike ordinary artwork, this statue can move. Its body is a disturbing blend of rusted man-made structures and organic, grotesque features, twisted limbs and hands that look like tangled roots or overgrown branches. Despite its slow pace, the creature is unstoppable. It doesn't hunt with speed, but with unyielding persistence, as if time holds no meaning for it. When the protagonist becomes trapped inside the mall, he slowly realizes he is not alone. The Rolling Giant, once just a decorative sculpture, awakens without warning and begins a wordless, emotionless pursuit. It needs no reason, offers no explanation, it simply fulfills the duty of a forgotten guardian. In the world of The Oldest View, the Rolling Giant is more than just a terrifying monster. It represents something deeper, a primal fear of massive ancient forces hidden beneath the surface of familiar places. What used to be a shopping center has become a tomb, and the giant is its eternal warden. Bacteria. Bacteria is a hostile and predatory entity featured in the Back Rooms, the analog horror series created by Kane Pixels, known officially as Entity 3 within the series' fictional database. Bacteria is one of the first and most terrifying creatures encountered by individuals who have no-clipped into the Back Rooms. A liminal, seemingly infinite maze of yellowed walls, humming lights, and industrial decay. The creature is tall, black, and vaguely humanoid in shape, with limbs that extend unnaturally and a headless form that moves in quick, twitching bursts. Its body appears slick and skeletal, often described as resembling congealed smoke or rotting meat. Though it lacks eyes or visible sensory organs, Bacteria is highly aware of its surroundings, able to detect and chase victims with alarming precision. In the series, Bacteria stalks the endless halls of Level 0, the first and most iconic floor of the Back Rooms. Its presence is usually indicated by distant, wet footsteps or distorted background noise. Victims often have little to no warning before it appears, usually emerging from shadowy corners or vents. Once it begins pursuit, escape becomes nearly impossible. Narratively, Bacteria represents the immediate danger of the Back Rooms, an unknowable, unrelenting force lurking in a place where reality has broken down. It doesn't speak or reason, it simply hunts. For those trapped in this dimension, Bacteria is both a monster and a symbol of hopelessness. Proof that once you've fallen into the Back Rooms, you're not alone, and you're not getting out. The Mimic. The Mimic is a highly dangerous predatory creature featured in Vita Canis, an analog horror series created by Darian Quilloy. It's one of several grotesque, flesh-based organisms born from a bizarre biological event known as the crawl, a twisted phenomenon reshaping the world in terrifying ways. This creature takes on a horrifying humanoid shape, with an unnaturally tall, skeletal frame. Its skin appears half-peeled, exposing raw muscle, while its face stretches unnaturally wide. Its mouth gapes far too large for a human, and its eyes are dull, glassy, and lifeless. Though it lacks vocal cords, the Mimic possesses the chilling ability to imitate human speech. It often repeats short, emotional phrases like "help me," or mimics sobbing and cries of distress, sounds believed to be recordings of its previous victims. These audio loops repeat like a broken tape, but they're realistic enough to fool anyone nearby. Its hunting method is disturbingly simple. It hides in remote, quiet places and uses sound as bait. When a victim hears the call and approaches out of concern or curiosity, the Mimic strikes fast, violently, and without hesitation. Victims are usually paralyzed and then devoured over hours, with little to no trace left behind. In the world of Vita Canis, the Mimic represents more than physical danger. It's a direct assault on human empathy. It turns compassion into a trap, making us question our instinct to help others. This creature doesn't just stalk and kill, it manipulates, delivering psychological horror alongside real-world consequences. The Boiled One. In the early 2000s, a strange and disturbing phenomenon began spreading quietly across the United States. At its center was something people would come to call the boiled one, not merely a creature, but a walking calamity, a plague in human form. The boiled one appears like a mangled human corpse. Its skin is bloated and blistered, like it has been submerged in boiling water for hours. Part of its face is melted away, exposing raw muscle and empty eye sockets. It moves with a heavy, dragging pace, slow pace. But it doesn't need speed. What kills isn't its strength. It's the psychological rot that spreads around it. People who come into contact with it, even indirectly, start to change. Their skin erupts in sores. They see hallucinations. They hear voices whispering things no one else can hear. Some lose control. Others vanish altogether. Soon the government steps in. Streets are locked down. Footage disappears. Recordings are erased. The very mention of the creature fades from public memory. But not because it was stopped, only buried. No one knows what it is. A cursed entity. An alien parasite. A sentient virus. All that's certain is this: the more you know about it, the closer it gets. The longer you think about it, the more it starts to grow inside you. In the boiled one phenomenon, the creature becomes more than just a monster. It embodies the fear of infection itself, a being so twisted and corrosive that simply witnessing it is enough to begin your own slow, irreversible decay. The Painter. The Painter is a haunting figure in the analog horror series Urban Spook, known for its disturbing habit of emerging through murals and graffiti left behind in forgotten corners of the city. It doesn't simply hide in the shadows. It is the shadows, embedding itself into walls, concrete, and cracked surfaces like a living stain. Wherever the painter appears, unease follows, marked by the presence of unnatural artworks that seem to warp reality itself. Its form is a warped silhouette, human-like at first glance, but smeared with unsettling distortions, as though made from wet brushstrokes on a peeling wall. Limbs stretch at wrong angles, and facial features blur like unfinished sketches. The painter never speaks, but it expresses itself through its creation's images that pulse with horror and hidden meaning. Some are violent, some prophetic, all are dangerous. Witnesses claim that those who stare too long at its work, or worse, attempt to deface it, vanish without explanation. Their last moments are sometimes captured within new paintings, frozen in fear on an alley wall or cracked overpass. The painter is not just a monster, it is a manifestation of lost places and neglected beauty, turning the act of creation into something cursed. Within Urban Spook, the painter stands out as a symbol of the decay hidden beneath the surface of familiar spaces. It transforms art from expression into imprisonment, beauty into a trap, and cities into silent graveyards marked by brush and blood. The Smiler. The Smiler is a disturbing and cryptic entity that haunts the analog horror series The Smile Tapes. Its most recognizable feature is a grotesque, permanent grin that stretches far beyond the limits of any normal expression. Instead of joy, the expression triggers something far more primal: dread. The creature resembles a pale, starved human figure with vacant, emotionless eyes that seem to follow without blinking. Its twisted mouth often reveals razor-sharp teeth, forming a smile so wide it feels inhuman. It never speaks, but it doesn't need to. The Smiler communicates through silence and presence, lurking quietly at the edge of the frame before emerging in sudden, jarring moments. It tends to appear when its victims are at their lowest, isolated, afraid, or emotionally drained. Survivors often describe an overwhelming wave of dread and confusion leading up to their encounter, as though the creature feeds on despair itself. Within the world of the Smile Tapes, the Smiler represents the horror of suppressed emotion, the hidden darkness that can grow behind a forced smile. As one of the most unsettling entities in the series, the Smiler blurs the line between comfort and nightmare, reminding us that even a smile can hide something monstrous. Gabriel. Gabriel is a chilling figure from the analog horror series The Mandela Catalogue, created by Alex Kister. Portrayed as a corrupted archangel, Gabriel wears flowing white robes, yet his form is far from divine. Instead of peace, he brings unease. His hollow, glowing eyes and distorted grin hint at something deeply unnatural. He towers with an emaciated frame that moves with unsettling calm, like a twisted imitation of holiness. Though his voice is barely a whisper, every word feels like a threat wrapped in prophecy. Gabriel doesn't scream or chase, he convinces. Using visions, distorted recordings, or cryptic appearances in media, he spreads dread through suggestion and illusion. Often presenting himself as a savior, he speaks in riddles meant to unsettle, leading victims into paranoia, despair, and mental collapse. What makes Gabriel truly terrifying isn't just his appearance, but what he represents. In the Mandela Catalogue, he stands for the betrayal of trust, the weaponization of belief, and the collapse of spiritual safety. Gabriel isn't just a monster, he is a warning that not everything claiming to save you wants you to survive. The Woodcrawler. The Woodcrawler is a towering, elusive predator that roams the deepest, darkest forests within the world of Gemini home entertainment. It resembles a warped, rotting tree standing motionless among the dense foliage, impossible to notice until it's too late. Those who wander into its territory rarely return, and if they do, they come back silent, shaken, unwilling to speak of what they saw. Its body is a grotesque fusion of bark and flesh, limbs long and brittle like broken branches, its torso cloaked in moss and decay. At its center is a face, or something like one sunk deep into the wood, as if carved from an ancient tree, with lifeless eyes that somehow seem to understand everything. It doesn't blink, it doesn't breathe, but it watches. The creature moves with unnatural speed, slipping through the trees without a sound. The Woodcrawler doesn't hunt out of hunger or hatred. It simply watches, with the patience of something that knows time is always on its side. In the world of Gemini, the Woodcrawler is not just a forest spirit or lurking beast. It represents a deeper, older fear that nature, in its raw and wild form, does not care about humanity. That behind the beauty of trees and the stillness of the woods, something ancient is always watching. Something that doesn't need a reason to pull you into the dark.